I think it's time we had a little chat. With the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Pottsman. What? Mr. Pottsman? I knew it. That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door. My god, it's 5 AM. Mr. Pottsman, I finished processing the bloodletter, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Oh! Okay, looking good. You there, take care of this. I'll take good care of this. Haha. Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Pottsman. We got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jack Pottsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. Huh? You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? I could see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Who'd have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? You done trying to play mind games with me because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything? Oh! Right, oh, okay. Okay, so it changes between argument and testimony. Cool! Right, so Mr. Pottsman's rebuttal. I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but... there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. We'll see, buddy. Pardon me. Sorry, but we are not finished here yet. Not finished yet. God, I'm just adding words. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusations on. With evidence. Yeah. Right, here's rebuttal. Let's destroy it. Absolutely positively. Hold it! My accusation is a harebrained idea, is it? You tell me. I'd say it is, after all. There's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. I concur. Oh, and what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here? Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him. And, that's it, that's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. But it's more than enough, wouldn't you agree? Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means? It doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as the killer. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Well... Unfortunately, I believe I have already shown you earlier, or shown how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? Hell yeah. You claim to have had no way to open my door, however, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humour you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well then. I propose that you use this to open my door. The master key. Boink! Pick that! I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less. Objection! Wait. Hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did. But only too direct. That's right, you used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key. Oh! You would ask Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah. I kinda forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain that it was Mr. Pottsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? Huh, and how do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example. That's right, they do slide out pretty easily. Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not, in fact, mine. What was it that Mr. Pottsman used to make Miss Bird think it was his room? His basketball hoop! Yeah! What, the basketball hoop, sir? It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. That's very true, sir, but there was... Oh, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Pottsman's. There are signs that the hoop had been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure. I see, so that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack. Ooh, he's rebuttal-ing. Conjecture's rebuttal. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? Although I can already call bullshit on statement number 3. He was not in his room. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know, I washed it just yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the one truly covered in slime here. Rebuttal. To your rebuttal. No, you're just spouting nonsense. Nonsense, you say? Yes, because I'm telling the truth here. Okay, I love how short these are by comparison to, like, the court trials. It's ridiculous. Using the master key, of course. Sure, you have a problem with that? That is what the master key is for, right? Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you. I was in my room the entire time. Bullshit. You was in your room the entire time, then why did they say you weren't? Why did they say you were out? Looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later. Whoosh. Bitch. Bum bum bum. That was a lie. What are you talking about? How was that a lie? This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Pottsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you. That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence. No way! This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you. Wait. Oh, her prints were open. Wait. Hold the phone. Wait, what? Proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you. Her prints were not found on his doorknob. Yeah, that would be it. And hers weren't on Edgeworth's either because it was white. I like the music. Bam bam bam. I heard your door dusted for prints. My door? Huh, what for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. I love his reactions. Further, all of the prints on my office door, or on my office doors, on my office doorknobs, or doorknob have been wiped clean off. I don't know, it's just whatever. On my door's knob. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me, and Detective Faith found you out, possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Pottsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you'd escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. Huh? Great, it's going crazy. Breakdown! Oh god. Just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of the office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me, is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down as well. Or that knob down well, eh? I'm a little obsessive compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before he arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. Ah, but you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir. Pottsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only realised that I had one just now as we were talking. God, I can't read. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. Great. So what's this alibi then? Pottsman's alibi. If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 AM, correct? And it was then that you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. Oh, it's a perfect alibi. Huh, okay. So, do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes sir, I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Sometime later. Miss Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Pottsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 AM. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradiction, or contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Press everything! Press everything! Pottsman's alibi. Hold it! Tell me more! You are correct, it was around 2 AM. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. You had the unfortunate confrontation with someone at gunpoint, so it wasn't him. It is as you say, however. Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see. Shit. Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. He was down in criminal affairs. So you paid the criminal affairs department a visit? Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Shit. We're in trouble. Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Ugh. Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there. Sir, please escort the young lady out. But remember, be gentle. Maggie. Detective Gumshoe. Oh no! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? Shit, I didn't get to read that. I need to calmly think this through one more time and with logic. Wait, so what's this? The intruder I met... Pardon me. Right, so the intruder I met could not have been Portsman. Then who could it have been? So, Mr. Portsman's alibi... Another handgun? Okay. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only showed signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person. Which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Ah, another one I didn't read. So the file, okay. Maybe the victim and his killer weren't the only ones, or only visitors to my office tonight, and the file's in disarray. Okay. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight. That would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be too much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. One by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back, Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean, 2? It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Grr. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just as he was about to look elsewhere, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct, and as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance to stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. Ooh! Oh, pardon me. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired. The one that landed in my shelves. Files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that, because he had also left the fake dying message behind. Pardon me. Oh god, that was awful. Heartburn and hiccups and burps. Lovely. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another? A visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen Zero file, sir. Right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice into 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief, and was not in fact Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. Oh god, it's doing this again. What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. Alright, here we go. The final testimony. Alibi part 2. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. Boom 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 boom. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course. Now isn't the time to be wasting time on dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I found your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. Time to press everything. Bum, 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 bum. I like the music. It's really upbeat. He's the real suspect. Bullshit. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Why not? That's elementary, my dear Watson. The dying message, of course. Mr. Faith's killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them. You mean the 0 files, right? And that's how we also know the letters themselves were a setup and not from Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either. Yeah, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe. Hold it. Why does it cut off the music? It really does go silent. Hold it. Worked. So once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. Oh, you talk like you know quite a bit about this thief. It's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything, after all. Boom 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 boom. Hold it. Damn it! Hold it! Uno, dos, tres. Hold it! Oh my god, just doing that in several different ways is the best. It's just fun. Like what triggers it and what doesn't. Hold it you fuck does. Hold it does. Saying hold it regularly doesn't, because of course. But according to Mr. Faith's note... Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? If you have proof that he left it at a different time, say, just before he was murdered. I don't have any, no. You see, so I insist again that I was in my office the entire time. Deliver some evidence to me. I was down at Criminal Affairs. Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and he was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. What are the evidence he brought? There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks. He brought me 2 items, a gun and a pendant. Related to yesterday's case. No, he didn't. He brought you 3, didn't he? I brought the 3 pieces of evidence. Yeah, so you're telling lies. Objection! Objection. Objection! Oh my god, nothing works. I really want to object. Fine. Dick. I love using my voice though. It's a gimmick, but it's fun. Only 2 pieces. I believe the proper phrase here is you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Pottsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read, carefully. Ah, it says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Pottsman. I can't believe it. To get tripped up by a simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Don't come any closer, I'm warning you. It's all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. His pawn stash. On VHS. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Oh. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. Oh, we're examining it. Okay. Whee! Aha! There's blood. Ah, that's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? No! No! You've got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. You have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints? Oh! If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. I'm guilty! Oh dear. Did he chew in through his medal? Oh god, he did, he ate it. And then he passed out. What the fuck? Oh my god, he passed out happy. What on earth? 5:47 AM. Mr. Pottsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the result we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. I thought I read that wrong at first. The blood work came back, and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside of the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Oh, it was nothing, really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd just thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. Probably. You know something, sir? That Mr. Pottsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. Why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there was a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumours about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Oof, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. It's just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumour that some sort of huge organisation is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well, well. With Mr. Pottsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumour. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? That Mr. Pottsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence. That's true. Yeah, the Series 0 file. The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Yes? I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. Oh, it's the, Yatagarasu, isn't it? What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Hey! Yeah, I remember that mark. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labelled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card, although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth. Look, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. Sir, the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few keywords are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. Right, so that's episode 1 finished. Finito! Very nice. Yes, I liked. That was great. Yeah! Do I want to save? You damn right I do. You bet your ass. Boy. Right, there we go. It doesn't just jump me straight into the next case, does it? I have to choose it. Right? Yeah! Perfect. The hell is that? Is that Karma? Von Karma? Shit. I didn't want to do that. What I was wondering is if the silhouette got coloured in, and it does. Or more so filled in. I didn't mean to select a save state point. Either way, that is going to be the end of this session. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And until next time, take care.